Dr. Minca, you're one of the 10 scientists who were selected from the AXA Research Fund COVID-19 call for projects. Your research is on using technologies to support global supply chain insurance and reinsurance. What were your motivations for this research project, and what are the goals you wish to achieve?
So our motivation was to look into global supply chains and to think about how to make these global supply chains more robust. So to give you a bit of background, I've been working on financial networks for a long time, for over a decade now. And we were always thinking about the economic impact of financial networks. And when COVID-19 struck, we realized that in fact the impact is just as much economic as it was the medical emergency of the pandemic. And in particular, one of the areas that seemed to break down was in supply chain. So you had these very long supply chains, and that had huge delays, and then goods couldn't be delivered, medical equipment couldn't be delivered. You had also critical medical equipment that couldn't be built because it depended on pieces that were built somewhere else, and you had all this. You had a lot of cross-border going back and forth among the various pieces of equipment. So the bottom line was that in thinking about how the pandemic is influencing what is happening in the global economy, I think this is a major effect. And back in March, there was a huge fear that what we are going to witness is a shrinking of global supply chains. So it is the fact that these global supply chains have become so efficient that we have witnessed this extraordinary economic growth that we had prior to the crisis. And then, of course, there was a real danger of going backwards in these terms. So now, of course, we do have this very long supply chains that are very efficient. So then the question is, how can we make them more resilient? So you're going to have a shock. You don't want to have huge delays into goods and things going upstream and being used by the next customer, because of course in a global supply chain what you're going to have is that a supplier in one point is going to be a customer to somebody else, and so on and so forth. So if you are going to have a delay or somewhere in this chain, things will be broken down, then this is going to propagate, and this is not what you want to prevent. So I think that this is where so our motivation was, of course, to bring technology and bring science into this area. And to think how insurers and reinsurers can step in and using risk management, using technology and understanding where are these areas, which are the supply chains that are very sensitive, which are the supply chains that are lacking robustness, where can we intervene by ensuring properly this part of the global supply chain.
Right, I see. So a huge focus on resilience and robustness. So why is this research important, and how will the results be applicable, I guess, on a societal as well as on an insurance level?
So on an insurance level, actually close to 60 or up to even 70% of the losses in insurance comes from disruptions in supply chains and businesses. And so just think about what could happen if you had huge delays on one side, and then on the other side could come huge delays in payments. Then you're going to have businesses that are going to be affected, and there could be bankruptcies, and then you could have that a temporary breaking in supply chains could transform into a permanent loss of business and loss of jobs into one area. And thinking about also emerging economies. So now we have had this huge, as I said, huge growth in efficiency and this translated in economic growth. It was because emerging economies started to participate in this global supply chains, and then if this gets reversed, then there will be huge impact on this kind of economies, and this will also translate to a huge loss in economic value over the that becomes global. So I think that there is so society is impacted in various ways. So it is impacted, of course, because of the loss of efficiency. You are going to revert economic growth, and then there could be a loss in business. There could be a loss in jobs, and the impacts could be devastating.
And why? I understand you'll be using blockchain technology as well within your research. Why is this technology important, and how does it fit into the context of your research?
So this is a small part of the project. The majority of the project is about developing machine learning techniques, so algorithms that are going to verify which areas of the network are lacking robustness and which areas of the network would benefit from being insured, and also how designing risk management techniques. So those are fairly mathematical endeavors. So how do you design all these risk management techniques at a global level, using a lot of data and integrating all this data so that you achieve this robustness? So it is not entirely obvious where you should intervene. Now, the part on blockchain is that, of course, when there is also a necessity of data sharing and of visibility across these long supply chains. So in particular, think about how trade is happening, and a lot of it is going through a maritime way. And all of this, in the case of pandemic, so not just COVID-19, are likely to be very disrupted. And so you're going to have a path that your shipments are going to take, and then you need a way for insurers to know where the shipments are going, if they have been compliant with all the paths that, for example, are avoiding hotspots in the pandemic. So in general, you need to have a way to ensure that many jurisdictions are able to share data to ensure that the various parties are complying with the rules that are made to make everything safe and resilient. So I think that is a way to moving forward to use blockchain technology and maybe mitigate some of the compliance issues that we might have had in the past.
Great. Well, Dr. Minca, thank you very much. We're really looking forward to the results, and to continuing following your research.
All right. Thank you so much, Marcello. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I look forward to discussing more with the researchers at AXA elsewhere about this project. And hopefully this will have an impact in mitigating the impact of the pandemic. Thank you.
I hope so.